we've talked with Ginny about the end of the summer gardening and the garden season winding down. Now, you might be looking for ways to use all that leftover fruit and veggies.
And as we start looking toward the fall, many people might start canning many of those items. There's a tool that can make that process a little easier. Brian Spyros introduces us to the Squeezo.
Well, this afternoon we are at Kitchen & Company in Lewes, and today we're going to be talking about something called the Squeezo. What's that all about? We're going to fill you in. And here now, my friend Tracy Toth, who is with Kitchen & Company.
To give you a squeeze.
We're going to give a squeeze. There you go.
Okay.
Squeeze.
There,
all
that's
right.
your Squeezo.
So the Squeezo. People at home are probably wondering, what exactly is it?
Yeah. Well, some of you viewers might actually recognize it from their mother's or grandmother's kitchen counters from years ago. They might even have one of their own from their grandmother or mother. The technology has been around since 1920. An Italian-American patented it to extract the juice or the puree from the tomato so that they could make sauces a lot easier. And home canners caught on and thought, wow, we can do so much more with this. And so it's kind of become this canning tool that a lot of canners use.
So the Squeezo is making a resurgence.
A resurgence, and you know, canning in itself is making a resurgence too. I think it has a lot to do with the economy and people wanting to be a little more resourceful.
Exactly.
You know?
So a lot of good stuff with that.
Yeah.
So let's introduce everyone to the Squeezo. Here it is right here.
Yeah.
So explain to me how this works.
Really easy. You've got your hopper up top. You just quarter your... Today we're going to demonstrate the tomatoes. So you quarter the tomatoes. You don't have to take anything but the bad spots off. Just quarter them, put them in your hopper, give a gentle push, and when you turn your wheel on the end here, the tomatoes go through a super strong auger, and the straining screen that covers the auger separates the puree, the juice, from the pulp.
Got it. And we already started doing this. Now, basically, you go through, we're going to start doing this. I'll add more. By using the Squeezo, it eliminates a tremendous and tedious step for the people who have to can.
A huge step. For anybody who cans a lot of tomatoes, and for me, that means quarts and quarts of tomatoes. What I used to have to do was get the tomatoes, quarter the tomatoes, steam or cook them down on the stove in a great big pot, which heats up the kitchen, and then you take that and you have to put it through a manual strainer. So you're doing this process manually. It takes a lot more time, it's a lot more effort, and a lot more cleanup. This is going to get you to that next step so much quicker.
It certainly is. And we saw, and you saw there no seeds or anything went down into the puree here, and then all of the debris, the remnants of the tomatoes just going up.
Yeah, right, and put that debris or whatever you call it, the remnants, right into your compost pile.
Now, basically, so once you've done all this, we can take this, and then you can put it into the can.
Put it right into your quart or your pint jars, whatever you want to do with it. Now, think of this as your step one. A lot of people who really go crazy with the canning, I for one, I've made homemade ketchup, homemade barbecue sauce, pasta sauce, salsa, anything that has the tomato puree base. Think of this as the first step in that canning process of yours.
And speaking of all the different things you make, the Squeezo comes with a recipe book, and there's a lot of different things you can do with fruits and vegetables in here.
Over 50 recipes. And again, this is your step one, and then the recipe book is there to get you started and take you off in some different directions. You can do fruits and vegetables. You can do pumpkin. You can do apples. You can make applesauce. You can use all of those veggies that are left at the end of the garden season.
Right.
Cook those down, steam them, soften them up, send them through your Squeezo, and make a great vegetable juice.
And we should mention, you just said apples. We have some here. You recommend that with the apples and carrots, the harder fruits and vegetables, you should prep them first before putting them through the Squeezo.
Exactly.
Why is that?
Exactly. It just makes it easier to process. And the Squeezo, it'll take care of everything that you send through it.
All right. And the other thing we should mention, it's made in the USA.
Made in the USA since it was incorporated. I mean, 1920 is so that's really great.
So it's been around for a long time. All right. So everyone's probably looking at this. We just put the tomatoes through. How's the cleanup?
The cleanup is really easy. All of these parts detach really easily. Go to your sink, a nice soapy sponge and brush, rinse it really well. Just make sure it's stored. When you go to store it, make sure it's super dry for your next season's usage.
Right, obviously, but you get a lot of use out of it, and it saves you time, and who doesn't like that?
Time, and I tell you what, with canning making such a resurgence, it's a great implement to have on hand.
All right, so a lot of great information. Tracy, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And of course, if you would like more information on the Squeezo or Kitchen & Company, go to our website, delmarvalife.com, and click on the Show tab.
Well, up next on Delmarva Live, just how long does it take to change your eating habits? We're going to get you started and show you how easily you can drop 10 pounds. Seriously.
But first, here's a look at what's coming up in the news on First at 5 at Fox 21 and later on WBOC News at 6.